back, everyone. So today I thought of sharing my experience of how my journey of the recruitment and how I was hired and what all interview processes that I did. It is different now. I've spoken to some of the seniors and I've noticed that interview process was different when they were hired. The interview process for my company, my current company, was different when I was hired, and then the currently whoever are coming, the new employees, their system is different. I have got to know all this after speaking to some of my colleagues, so I will share those some of the changes that I understood or noticed between the time that we were interviewed and then now whatever the recruitment is happening within our company. So let's start how I started. So I received an email from Indeed saying that there's an opening in my company, and I went ahead and I applied. I received email saying that I need to have I can set an interview with them, and then I think I fixed a date with them with somebody over the email. So the first interview that I did was via online, and that was via HireVue. So HireVue is a software very well used in aviation world and other recruitment processes, where it's everything is done not by in person, like there's no person sitting next to me or there's no person sitting in front of me in the computer, but there will be some computer generated question and then I have to answer them, and then they will be submitted for further to further have any conclusion on that. So in my case, I remember I gave a HireVue interview and I had 6 questions. They were all computer generated questions, and all, if I remember, were situational questions, and I had to answer them. Once I recorded all my answers, I was given before I started the interview, there was option to practice and then record my answer and see myself for like a random question, not the exact question, like an example question. And then when I feel okay, I can start the interview. So that's what I did. I practiced and then I started the interview, and then I gave 6 question and answers, and then they were submitted. Once they went to the recruitment team, I guess they go through it, and if they like it, they're gonna email you back. So I did receive an email for a face-to-face interview. It took some time. I think it took 3 weeks to have a face-to-face interview after this one, or 3 or 4 weeks. And then in the face-to-face interview, I was sitting with a recruiter who was sitting online in front of me, and then I was talking like a conversation, and there were again lots of situational questions as well. I don't remember how long I did it, maybe half an hour or something I did with her, but there were no like specific like 6 or 5 or 4 questions. It was up to her to ask me because it was more of a conversation and questions. After that was done, then she said all I have to do is just wait for further instructions. So I was waiting patiently or impatiently for a while. I would say it took a month or so, and then I got a email that I have been put into a successful pool. Pool means that I am on standby or reserve at this point, but they are not giving me any classes for training. They said that there's no more training happening for that year, but I think they said that they will put me on pool for 6 months, and then within 6 months, whatever is the next availability for the training, they will put me there. So that's what happened. So for the first 6 months I was there, but I never received or never got a call. And then almost when it's gonna like at the end of my 6 month, I received another email, not exactly end, but almost at the beginning of my 6 month, I received another email that they are extending my 6 more months of pool because they were unable to provide me any class for initial training, and they believe that the next training will be only held after 3 or 4 months in the next year. So I think my recruitment was in August. I was put in pool in August, and then by November I got this email that they extended my pool, and then they said that this year there's no training, so probably next year I'll hear from them. So luckily by I would say November end or December, I hear that I am on initial training for the March batch. So from January onwards, they started giving me January onwards they started sending me for medicals and the POET test. POET test is post-offer employment test. Medical test, they check the drug test and urine test and blood test, and post-offer employment test called POET test is more about your physical strength and ability to do the work that you need to do as a flight attendant, and so it's a lot of lifting and pulling and pushing and picking up the things, and then I wouldn't say it's a reach test, but then a lot of stretching, because they will give you a marking on the wall, and then you have to stretch and touch it. So a lot of those things, but if anybody is in that stage and they're worried about the POET or the medical test, it's very simple, very easy. I was very scared about the POET test because I thought that it's gonna be something very difficult, or physically like it will be challenging for me, because I'm a petite girl, so I thought so, but it wasn't. It was like a piece of cake. So if you're a normal healthy human being, you should be able to do it. Don't think about it. So that's what I did. I started doing from January, a lot of paperwork and a lot of documentation that you need to submit, and then by January end or February they will give you a lot of homework. Like for me, they gave us a month ago of my training, they gave me a lot of online homework that I needed to complete before I was supposed to attend my initial training. So I completed a lot of online training that time, staying at home. All the procedure was for me, and then March beginning I flew, and then I started my training, and it was for a 4-week training that I lived in Calgary. So all the trainings, as you know, for my company happens in Calgary, and so as I'm not from Calgary, I had to go and live there. Company pays for your accommodation, and you take care of your food. They pay you allowance, but only when you successfully complete your training, then you pay you allowance for living out of the base. But at that time, at the training, you take care of your food items. Okay, so yeah, and then recent interview, what I heard from my other colleagues who are new colleagues are joining is like you have to go through a group discussion. You have to do a face-to-face interview as well. So what I'm believing is the group discussion is the same like how I did for my previous airlines, like Qatar Airways used to have the same procedure. So I think they will call you for a group discussion. So there will be a lot of other aspirants who want to be a flight attendant will be there, and you will all sit there, and they'll give you a situational mostly a situational question, and the situational will be based on aviation. Even if you don't have an aviation background or you have an aviation background, both ways they are not looking at the knowledge that you have. They are looking at at your good qualities as a teamwork, or they're looking at how presentable you are, how like how acceptable you are when somebody is putting their opinion, how much acceptance you have for other people's opinion, and how good listener you are, because when you are having a discussion, you do have to listen and say as well. So a lot of points they look, it's not just like the content or the words that you're saying. Of course, you have to be careful the words that you say, but do not be arrogant whenever you're in a group discussion. Do not, it's not about like you have to prove a point. That's not what they're seeing. That is more of arrogance for them. I think it's about like how well you are saying those points, and how accommodating you are as a team player, and how because think about this, like if I am a recruiter, if I am looking at you, I would always think in my mind, do I want to work with this person in the aircraft, which is a enclosed area for whatever hours, and this person is so rude or arrogant, or this person comes across so abrupt on my face, or do I want to work with somebody who's pleasant, who's smiling, who's friendly, who's approachable, and who the way he's speaking is, he's putting a point or she's putting a point, but it's so, there's a gentleness to it, there's calm and composed. So those are the things that you have to see. I think that nowadays they're making you to go through that group discussions, and then they select whoever they want to select out of the group discussion, and then it's one-to-one. So I think the one-to-one will be the same what I did. I just did it through computer, because it was, I think, just after COVID that they started hiring, and now it's like more of one-to-one, but it'll be all situational question. So this is what I would say, all in all, the recruitment stages of recruitment in my current company. I might be not 100% correct about the current trend of recruitment in my company, but this is what I heard from my colleague. I was talking about myself probably a year ago when I started training. So I was hired a year and a half ago, and then I started training a year ago or a little bit more earlier to that. So that was my timeline, but then currently the trend has changed, but it's more or less around that. So this is what it is. And yep, so as long as you know the situational questions, you're pleasant, you're presentable, you're smiling, you are confident, but you're not coming as arrogant. You're pushing your point, but you're also very calm and composed. You're a good listener. All in all, I would say if you are genuinely a nice person, it will come across to the examiner. It will come across to the recruiter, because the honesty and the genuineness you cannot hide. It's just there. It's just inborn. So if you are a kind of person like that, you don't have to worry at all you have to prepare are those situational questions to say. So for them, you just have to Google. There's lots of situational questions available all over internet. You can also search, like you can search flight attendant questions, and YouTube, there's many like that. I don't remember specifically, but they were like generic situational, like conflict with your crew or passenger and stuff, and how would you deal it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much. I don't want to stress. I still wanted to make something that can help maybe someone. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say for today. Adios.